what if the best way to have successful relationship was actually to have the courage to be disliked? Today we're going to discuss about this book, The Courage to be Disliked, and we learn something about what the psychologist Adler described and that is used in this book. Because I think if you're having a hard time dealing with a breakup in your relationship, there are so many things you can learn from it, detaching yourself from the meaning of those relationships. And Adler is mentioning few interesting things that we can all learn and apply in your life, in your relationship. So that's the book. I'll put a link. It's not an affiliate link, but if you want to buy it, Courage to be Disliked, very interesting Japanese book, but it's based on the psychologist Adler. The idea of Adler, the first and the most radical idea, is that trauma don't exist. His view is that our past experiences don't matter. Our responsibility is to dictate the future. Okay, and so in a way, and it's quite like radical in that sense, don't make up excuse for what happened in the past. In your life, in your partner's life, what matters is how you interpret it. And today, you can make the conscious decisions to shape the life how you want it to be. Of course, when you're a kid, when you're 7 years old, when you're 12 years old, you don't know those things. Now we're adult, you're learning about psychology, you're learning about yourself, you're doing the work. Therefore, that's Adler's view. You can choose. And you have, in a way, as well, the responsibility to choose. And if I talk about breakups, for example, if I link it with breakups, understand that breakup, what happened in the past, this relationship or a toxic relationship, doesn't have to control your future and doesn't have to define your worth. That's your responsibility, is to take care of those things. Because right now, you can decide. You are in control. So it's really about the controlling element of your actions, of your decisions. That's the first thing is, for him, trauma, it don't matter. They were there. We can be empathetic around the trauma, but in a way, they should not dictate who we are today. We can detach. We should detach from those negative experiences, from those traumatic experiences. Another element that you can learn from, which is very linked to the Stoicism principles, is the freedom lies in the present. Adler says, you are not bound by past, pain, or label. In the context of relationships, that's why we should stop dwelling on the past, replaying things, using this breakup, the outcome of this relationship, as a reason for you to feel dissatisfied, to feel a lack of confidence, to feel worthless. The point is to ask yourself, okay, this is painful, this is tough, how can I learn from this? I'm having a hard time with my partner, we're on the brink of divorce, what can I learn from that? Your current actions are your current path. You decided to watch this video, right? You decided to wake up this morning and, I don't know, make yourself a cup of coffee. You can design your own path. And the things that you learn, the things that you do, are something that you can shape yourself with your decisions. Similar to the first thing that I described around trauma, Adler says that we need to focus on goal and not the cause. That's why my approach is a little bit of therapy and a little bit of coaching, because sometimes it's about reframing things, working through your emotions, and sometimes it's just about like, okay, what can we do right now, right? And if you follow and like my content, it's really like take action, do something. It's great to consume content, it's great to learn, but this is just a starting point for you to take action. And Adler says that people focus too much on why they hurt. It's important to understand, but that shouldn't be where you obsess, where you spend most of your time. I often say 10% is on about reflecting on the relationship, 90% on the action. So right now, if you're obsessing, if you're dwelling on the past, find that right structure. Use this video as a wake-up call to, okay, focus on what do I want to achieve. Rather than thinking, Why is this always happening to me? Why is he doing like this? Questions you would probably not get an answer is, what can I do today? Okay, what are the things that I can control? How do I want to shape my life? What should be the ideal life that I can design for myself? Okay, it's very important. You can learn reflecting on the past, but don't dwell on the past. Spend 5-10% of your emotional bandwidth on this, then project forward. The reason people are heartbroken is because they stay too much on the past and they don't have they don't focus on the present. They are not able to be grounded in present, and they don't have any future. The reason people have a hard time with breakup is because they are grieving the future. They're not grieving the past. They think they're grieving the past, but they're grieving the future. They're grieving what we could have had, the plans. It feels like unfinished business. And that's very hard to heal if you are projecting yourself in possibilities, in what ifs. Take care of what you can control. And that's why, and I said that a lot, and I was really happy to read it in the book, stop telling yourself the wrong stories. Okay, the problem is after a breakup, it's very easy to fall back into, I'm not worthy of love, I'm not lovable, I won't find anyone. There's a whole range of negative self-talk that most people will tell themselves. Accept that these are interpretations. They're not facts, they're interpretations. You are deciding to label yourself those things. And that's why it's important to have the right set of action so you can reflect and have data, real data, facts, telling you I'm making progress, I'm growing. And it's also about how you reframe your responsibility in the relationship, how you want to be as a partner. What I do with my clients who want to test whether there's a future with their ex or if they're on the brink of divorce is we create a secure base where we create the right environment, developing a secure attachment style, having the right set of communication. But we know that we are showing up to the standards we expect our partner to meet. In other words, yes, we adapt ourselves if the person is avoidant or if the person is anxious. We know their triggering point. We are empathetic. We use that knowledge to adapt our communication and our behaviors. But at the same time, we draw the line. We have boundaries. We know what we want. We know what we don't want. And we test whether this person, whether our partner, our husband, our wife, or my husband's wife, my client's wife, or my client's husband, would respond. And whether creating that secure base will change the dynamic and create the right condition for them to be in the right relationship. In other words, resetting, pressing on the reset button, creating another dynamic, because usually in relationships you have different phases. After you transition from the passion to compassion, there's a conflict phase where you have to transition to something where you're about growth together. And sometimes you have to break up because it's very hard to transition from one to the other. And you blame the partner because of many reasons, and you think the problem is your partner. So you reset things, you create the right dynamic, you show them who you are, how of a partner you could be. So you work on your insecurities, you work on the things that you need to work on, and then you test. And if that person doesn't want to take you back, doesn't want to work on the relationship, you have your answer. They're just not right for you. Because you know you presented yourself, the best possible version of yourself in terms of a partnership. You showed up, you invested in the relationship. So that's very important, but it starts with the story you're telling yourself. That's super important. Another element, and that's why that's the core of Adler's philosophy, is the idea of living without needing others' approval. If you want to be happy, you should have the courage to be disliked. You should not care about what people think about yourself. So I think it's a concept, it's a theory, but I think it's interesting to apply this in your own life. And ask yourself the question of why do you want to feel loved? Why do you need the reassurance? I see those questions are, he's very extreme in how he looks at things, but it's about finding the balance and understanding where you are on that spectrum. and accepting that, sometimes over-relying on others, needing reassurance is not healthy. And that's why you need to find the right support system, find the right resources, internal resources, to feel safe, to feel confident, that you feel that you are worthy of love. That's also why you need a bit of sometimes coaching out, figure out what you like doing, what are your strengths, your talents, what are the things that make you proud. Sometimes people feel like, I'm useless, I'm not worthy of love. 30 minutes of call and they'll be super pumped because there are plenty of things that they could be proud of. There are plenty of things that they've achieved. But after a breakup, when we are under stress, we don't have the bandwidth to look at those things. It's hard for us to recognize that because we, in a way, don't want to look at this right now. We prefer, because it confirms this narrative, we're back to the story, that is projecting on us because of the breakup, because of the difficulty in the marriage. And so that's the idea, is, again, questioning yourself on those things, about the need for validation, the need to be approved. And it's important. We're human beings, we are social animals. We need to feel loved, approved, and sort of included. We are social animals, so it's very important. That's why we assess when we're in a group setting, in relationship settings, whether we are part of the group. And that's why breakups are so painful, because it's almost triggering a primitive response, similar to not having food or shelter. So that's very important for you to understand about this validation seeking element. And so the book is obviously about the courage to be disliked. His view is that growth can only happen if you are authentic. You can only be happy if you're authentic to yourself. And if you think about it, if you don't care about what other things, then you make decisions based on you. Okay? Even if people disapprove, because it's based on you. Your authenticity will drive your growth and your happiness. And so, again, this is a very extreme point. A relationship is also about compromise, but it's where you find yourself on the spectrum when you start a relationship, or when you are, how you show up in the relationship. If you're the kind of person who is always in people-pleasing mode, that's not healthy, because you're forgetting about your boundaries, your needs. The point is, if you're breaking up with someone, if you have a difficult time with your partner, that's your chance to reestablish the new terms of the relationship, figuring out what you need and what you want based on who you are. Sometimes people, I have, discovery calls with people, and if you want to have a chat with me, have a look in the description. And very quickly, I realized that they are not themselves in the relationship. I can feel they are in love with this person, which has nothing to do with that. They're in love with the person, they have feelings, but in a way, they forget who they are. The real question that I ask is like, what should be the ideal relationship? Who you want to be with that person? And if you feel that you have to let go of part of who you are to be with that person, he or she is not the right person. So maybe, and the thing is, like, it's two separate things. The feelings and your needs, sometimes they don't talk to each other. And when we feel in love with someone, we are so infatuated by the relationship because we crave the relationship, because somehow we are attracted to this person. Very primitive thing. But at the same time, we forget about our needs and we flex ourselves too much. What happens? And then we become phantom in that relationship. So it happens sometimes where people stay in those relationships and they're like zombies in those relationships. They go on for 10, 20 years. It doesn't have to be arranged marriage, but sometimes it happens where you are in a relationship and you don't feel you can make any decisions. You just follow, right? You're on the passenger seat. One day, sooner or later, you will want to escape that prison. You will want to reclaim that freedom. Because in a way, if for so many years you can't really express yourself and be who you are, that's not the right relationship, that's not fulfilling. So it's very important to assess. And his view, and I think again it's very clear, is very linked to the Stoicism principle. The true courage is to believe that you're enough without any external validation. Building that confidence within. It's obviously easier said than done. When I make videos and have just a few views on the videos, it's very hard to believe that I'm doing a great job. Actually, if you want me to have more views, you can subscribe. It does help me with the algorithm, and also like videos. Maybe you don't like this one, like the other one, but that does help me as well to boost my stats and a little bit my ego, even though I'm making these videos and trying to give myself, sharing that knowledge, not expecting anything in return, but just helping you out. And if you're watching and if you're enjoying, that's great. That's just a bonus. That's just a cherry on the cake. Now, how can we apply this in your life? First of all, it's about the mindset shift. Your past doesn't define your future. Okay. Some people, they feel, okay, patterns. That's your decision. That's your choice to change the patterns. Okay, that's very important. Second element is daily action. It's about, okay, I want to change a pattern. What actions can I take? The approach that I use with my clients on WhatsApp, they keep a journal. They rewrite those beliefs. We work together at reframing those thoughts. We exchange. I change them. Is that true? Show me the facts. Show me the proof. And usually they can't find the proof. So that's not true. Let's move forward. Let's reframe those thoughts. Third element is about focus. It's about the progress. And that's why people have a hard time when they are on the brink of divorce, when they broke up with their partner, is the lack of structure. It's like, okay, I'm in a fog. There's so many things, I'm confused. Small tasks, meaningful goals, things that bring happiness and joy in your life. And then it's about practice. It's about how you can do it and embed this every single day. I don't think you can ever be a human being without a form of approval, but it's finding how you can build a little bit of resilience if you're too far on the spectrum and feel that you always need that approval and that validation. If you have any question, let me know in the comment section. If you read the book, let me know as well in the comment section. I'd love to see your view on this book, and I'll see you next time. Take care.